Good afternoon, everyone. This is going to be your introduction to receiving a lesson via video because I'm not able to be at the school today. So first, this worksheet, okay, hopefully you've been working on this for the past 10 minutes, okay, or you're about to work on it for the next 10 minutes, depending on when the video got started, okay? So just reviewing bed mass, that's hopefully using your toolkit from the day before to help you out with that, okay? So as the video goes along, I'm going to ask whoever's running the lesson to just pause it from time to time, right? Make sure everyone has a chance to get down what they need to get down. Okay, there's going to be some back and forth in this lesson. We're going to add something to our toolkit, okay, and we're going to do a couple activities along the way. All right. So again, if you've had your practice time for the bed mass sheet, okay, we're ready to go. If not, we'll pause for a couple more minutes. You can have some time, and then we'll go from there. Okay, but if you're ready to go, I want you to go into your toolkit again, okay? So on the table of contents, you're going to write today's date, right, which is February the 5th, okay? And this is a toolkit on ratios, so hopefully this is going to be going on your page 2, or wherever you choose to put it there. Okay. So in this toolkit, we're just going to quickly review what a ratio is, and we're going to talk about how to solve for a missing quantity in a ratio. Okay. So the first part is just reviewing what they look like. Okay. So there are 3 ways that you can write a ratio. Okay. The first one is just use words. Okay. So for example, if you're looking at a recipe and it says for every 3 cups of flour, you need 2 cups of milk, right? The ratio would be 3 cups of flour to 2 cups of milk. And so we typically write that kind of a ratio. Okay. The second way we typically write this, okay, is just going across the page, right? So 3:2, something like that, okay? The third way that we can write a ratio is vertically, okay? So more like a fraction. So if I was still using this same thing, the 3/2, okay, I would simply write it, 3:2 is 3:2, okay? Now, typically, when we're talking about the ratio, we tend to write it this way, right? Okay, I only really write it vertically when I want to solve a problem, okay, because the fractional form is a little more useful for solving the problem. Okay. So again, if you need to, please pause this video to make sure everyone has enough time to get things down, and then we're going to talk about solving ratios. Okay, and it's part of the same toolkit, so just add it underneath. Okay, so the main skill or application here again is how to solve one. If I have pieces, right, how do I solve for the missing quantity? So we're going to solve the ratio 3:2 is equal to 15 to x, right? 15 to something. What's the something? So there are 2 different methods you can use. So I'm going to show you both, okay? And going forward, you can pick which one makes the most sense to you. Okay? So option 1, or method 1, okay, I can't really think of the formal word for this. You're just kind of thinking about what's happening from left side to right side. So I'm just going to rewrite this out so I have some room to work. Okay, and what I'm going to start with is this. Okay, and I ask myself, okay, what do I multiply or divide 3 by to get 15? Okay, yeah, what do I do to get from 3 to 15? And it has to be through multiplication or division. Okay, it's not adding. Okay, it has to be through multiplying or dividing. Okay, so after thinking about it for a moment, okay, you may recall that 3 times 5 is equal to 15. Okay, if you're not solid on your times tables, okay, a way you can figure that out without, or say more directly, say, okay, well, my end result is 15. If I divide that by 3, I get 5. Okay, and that's the number I was using. So I multiplied by 5. Okay, so now to solve the ratio, okay, I just do the same thing to the other number, right? That means I have to multiply the 2 by 5 to get x. Okay, that means x equals 2 times 5. So x is equal to 10. Okay, so that's one way you can solve them. Just by looking at the numbers and thinking, how did I move from one ratio to the other? Okay, it's a lot like doing equivalent fractions. Okay. Method number 2. Okay, method number 2 is what, if you've seen it before, you may have heard it called cross multiply. So I'll write that down. So for this one to work, this is where we switch and we write the ratio vertically. Okay, so I have 3 to 2 and 15 to x. So I have 3 over 2 equals 15 over x. Okay, so what the cross multiply is talking about is that we kind of go diagonally here, right? I multiply 3 times x and I multiply 2 times 15. So we multiply diagonally across. Okay, so my next line will look like the one side is 3 times x, which is just 3x. Okay, and the other side is 2 times 15. Okay, we'll do some tidying up. So 3x is equal to 30. Okay, and my last step, this would be going back to some equation solving from previous years. Right, if I have 3x, I'm going to divide that by 3. 30 divided by 3. So x is equal to 30 divided by 3, which is also 10. Okay, we got the same answer to the guy doing it the other way. Okay, and that's basically the process, right? You multiply diagonally across, okay, tidy it up, and then solve it for x. A quick note, because I know someone in the room would probably ask, right, how many of those steps do you really need to show? Okay, you don't necessarily have to show this one, okay? Like, if you can go straight from the original fraction to this line, okay, that is totally fine. So you can go straight from here down to here. Okay, and then the solution part, like if you're good with it, you could jump to the last step, okay, and say that x is equal to 10 if you know what you're doing. Okay, but if you're until you've got it for sure, you should try to show as many of those steps as you need to so you know what's going on. Okay, so that's the tool. Okay, that's how we solve ratios. Okay, so just like the one you got to start with, the mass, okay, you're going to get another little worksheet here to practice this skill. You've got the template. Okay, so I want you to practice it and make sure you've got it down pat. Okay, don't worry if you're not done the BEDMAS one. Okay, just make sure. I want you to practice this skill now. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Okay, there's a bunch of them there. We're going to work on it for 10, 15 minutes. Just do as many as you can. Okay, and practice getting the skill down. All right. Okay, so again, this would be a good place to pause the video. And when you come back, there'll be one more set of things to wrap up with. Okay, so hopefully you've had your practice time now. Okay, and we're back. Okay, this last section, okay, I have a little bit of a note. Okay, this does not go in the toolkit. Okay, this is some separate examples that I want you to put in your regular binder. Okay, like not everything we do is going to go in the toolkit. It's just the basics of what you need to do. Okay, so this is a little note to solidify our understanding of ratios. And again, I want it to go in your regular binder. It's not super long, just a couple of examples here. Okay, so we talked about how to write a ratio, but just the definition. Okay, a ratio is a comparison of one quantity to another. So that whole idea of it was, cups of flour to milk when we were down in the toolkit. That's all it is. They're two numbers because you're comparing one thing to the other. Okay, a side example would be, I think, I don't have it in front of me right now, but I believe in our class, the ratio of male to female is something like 18 to 9. Okay, I'm pretty sure there are like 18 guys and 9 girls if everybody is there. Okay, so it's just two numbers that are comparing two things. Okay, a unit rate, okay, is when the second part of the ratio is 1. So when you see something like in the store, you see a unit price per gram. Okay, you get a speed per kilometer, like something per kilometer, things like that. Okay. If I took that ratio I was just talking about, let's go back to that one. Okay, right, guys to girls in our class, right, is 18 to 9. Okay. If I divided both of those by 9, okay, that would be 2 to 1. Okay, right, there are 2 males for every female. Okay, 2 guys for every girl. So the unit rate would be what I just basically said there. 2 male per female is how the ratio sets up in the class, approximately. Okay, so for another example of that. Okay, on a school field trip, okay, there must be 2 teachers for every 40 students. Okay, and the ratio, and we write that out as 2 to 40. Okay. Okay, and maybe some of you are already trying to put together the unit rate, but that's going to be example 2. So again, when the class is ready, we'll just move along to there. Okay, so the ratio 2 to 40, right? This is example 2, can be rewritten as 1 to 20 if we divide each of those things by 2. Okay, so right, saying that 2 teachers for every 40 students really means the same thing as saying 1 teacher for every 20 students. Okay, if I wanted to write that as a unit rate, okay, so I'm going to add this in here, unit rate. Okay, that would be 20 students per teacher. Okay, again, please make sure you pause as needed to make sure everyone gets stuff down in their notes. Okay, so here's our final part of the note. Okay, so Mr. Kim wants to take 150 kids on a rock climbing field trip. How many teachers will this field trip need? Okay, now there are lots of different ways you can figure this out. Okay, I'm going to kind of go back to our toolkit and solve this using a ratio. Okay, well actually, let's back that up a second. Okay, why don't we pause the video here for a couple of minutes, and I'd like you to try to solve it on your own, see if you can figure it out, and then we'll take this up. All right, so hopefully you're back from everyone having a chance to look at that. Okay, there's lots of different ways you can probably solve this. Okay, hopefully you've discussed some of it, but here's one way to solve it using ratio. Okay, so we had a ratio, right, that was, we'll go with the original one. It was 2 teachers for every 40 students. Okay, I now have 150 students. So when I'm filling this in, it has to match, right? The way I have this set up, I have teachers in the numerator, and I have students in the denominator. Okay, so I have 150 here, okay, and I need to know how many teachers, so X goes there. Right, now we'll apply our steps. So I'm going to cross multiply. So I have 2 times 150 on the one side, and I have 40 times X, which is 40X on the other side. Okay, double 150, that's 300, okay, is equal to 40X. Okay, my final step is to divide both sides by 40. So I have 30 divided by 40, 40 divided by 40. Okay, so I have X, and 30 divided by 40 is 7.5. Okay, so that's my final answer, is 7.5. Now, obviously, you cannot actually have 7.5 teachers go. So when I write my concluding statement, I need to reflect that. Okay, so therefore, 8 teachers are needed for this field trip. Okay, and we have to round that up, okay, because we need more teachers, not less. Okay, so that's the end of today's material on ratios. Okay, I appreciate your patience in working through this. So for the remainder of class, okay, there's a couple things that you can do. Okay, so one is if you haven't finished either of those 2 worksheets we're looking at earlier, okay, you should probably try to finish those up. That would be the first thing. If you are finished both, okay, I have some kind of more puzzle type problems, or if you'd rather work on those. Okay, so there's 3 questions. The sheet looks like this. Okay. Okay, so if you'd rather work on that, okay, you can work on that. But again, the main thing is, whatever time you have left in class, okay, you've got things you can be working on, okay, and I want you to work, okay, and practice. All right. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you tomorrow.